Poetic minds, poetic vibes. We play with words and we are the dear poets. Called to preserve the heritage of words. That's who we are. So basically today we'll be talking about poets. You know that we have poets in the country, but you can't make a living out of it. There's a poem by Meg Manaka who's like, at the end of the day, you're a poet, but poetry won't put bread on the table. And I think it's quite sad because everything that has to do with poetry, it's life, it's words. You as a poet have to write that poem. It takes you weeks to perfect it, edit it, you do research, and at the end of the day you take that material, you perform your piece somewhere and you're not getting paid. You know, I almost associate poetry with rappers. You know, you rap, thereafter you release a mixtape, thereafter somebody recognizes you, next thing you're performing to different people at different stadiums, you're performing at different events. It's all about pushing it, you know. And even singing. Let me just briefly give an example. Gabu, you know, you watch Beyonce, that's poetry. Writing is poetry. Putting that into lyrics, poetry. You see them performing Gobo, White House, performing at different countries, and it's like, as a poet or as somebody into the arts, you are not getting that same recognition as rappers and singers and musicians and performing art people are. No. People in, like, you know, you perform, you get gigs once in a while, but to be a poet, continue to write. Like, I like the words of Lebu Mashilu, who was like, you know, being a poet is not necessarily about, you know, having a mixtape or being known worldwide. It's about having materials. Because how can you call yourself a poet whilst you're like, I don't have gigs, but yet you don't write? Continue to write until you perish, because I 110% agree that poetry is not out there, it's not really marketable or recognized in the country or in any country or worldwide, but it's words, like singing, like, you know, hip-hop. It's out there, it tells tales, you know, untold about souls captured in the concrete. And I think poetry is very unique, because I often say that who will market it? When that's the question. Nobody is marketing currently. You know, you don't have recording deals or labels saying that we're looking for poets, come, and once you sign with them, you'll be doing events in different places and stuff. Nobody is actually recognizing it. But as I was saying, I think, you know, with different poems in the country, you become a public speaker when you presenting your poetry. You become a revolutionist, a doctor, an activist. You deliver a message that most people don't want to deliver, or they're afraid. But I think it's of basically being judged. How do you go out there, as because even gigs, you know, you can't find any other strictly gigs for poetry. Either you have hip-hop, jazz, R&B, poems. It's all about trying to, you know, getting yourself out there and leaving a legacy of words. You know, perform wherever you can. Post it on YouTube. But I like the jobs that were done back then by, you know, my girl Miss Isis, giving people the opportunity to be out there. I think, you know, one thing, like I was saying before you came in, poetry, you become an ambassador of words, a messenger, a prophet. You encourage people, and most of the times people don't, or rather people in the political arena or social media, feel afraid of saying certain things because they think people are going to judge them or they'll be offending people. But with poetry, you stand there, you connect with words, you help people, you heal people with your words. So poetry is almost like, for me, therapy. A healing session. It's a therapy. Like, yeah, you meditate upon it. I mean, if you are hurt, whenever you go to those sessions, you get healed. If your heart is broken, you become revived. You know, it's like a holy seminar. It's just yes, I think it's more of, we're going to poetry sessions, you're like in a church. But where are the gigs like happening? In a I think when you're in poetry sessions, you're like in a church, in a consultation. You are in therapy, because you hear those what do they call them?
Those
Those
cats coming in and then they mesmerize, they marinate your soul, and you're like, they take you to another planet, to
another level.
poetry. It's like you get into another dynamic.
No, they summoned you to another level of reality.
Even not submission, it's like you are in a magic place.
The
you
poets
extra
of the
project from here to another place. You know, poets. Those people tell tales. They
make mana.
I don't know what to say.
Oh, I mean, they seduced me. As a matter of fact, they sodomized my mind.
You know, they touch you with their tongues. Forget hands. Can't touch you.
Like I did
Touch you.
On that note, Linda, I'm a poet and I have some of my work posted. So all the poet Bapitori, let's unite.
Come together.
Let's unite, you know, tell us where and when it's happening.
I think
so that we might, you know, unite. Nothing comes from Josie. We could also resurrect people.
So I think anything, if I were to say, listen, I think if I just want to mention that, you know, with poetry, you just go from one place to another dimension. And this is an art that has to be recognized even in schools, in universities. When you have events, you have to invite those poets to come, because we have a lot of talent in Social Nguve, in Mabopani, Mami Lodi, everywhere. It's just that this talent needs to be taken and to be exposed to South Africa through telling words.
But you know what happens? The issue is that with artists, you know, artists found the ground, not necessarily.
I think let's talk
most
about
artists want to go to Joburg to make it big, but my point here is that you know, you could be that seed that grows and glows, because by the sun photosynthesis the process is made. So
before I wanted also to mention that as poets, it's very difficult to be in the arts, or as a young hip-hop artist, it's very difficult to be in the arts and to be committed to the love and passion of your art. What I simply mean by this is that you find that there is a gig somewhere, you have to pop out your own money to go there, you have to pop out your own money to drink something. If there is an entry fee, you have to pop out your own money. And bear in mind, by that time you're not working, you're unemployed, but you are married to your soul music, you are married to poetry, you are married to being a hip-hop artist, and it's difficult. The NYDA, our government, or whoever is in position of the arts and culture ministry in the country, has to do something to uplift these artists before they,
because they are dying. They are truly dying. We live in a country where, you know, especially Africa as a whole, we are known for the rich diversity, for the rich cultures, for the rich arts. But at the end of the day, it seems like, you know, it's vanishing. It's like, hey, we Hinduni will be saying abracadabra, then everything bang, it vanishes. But enough with poetic vibes. This is how we do it. Comment down there. We want to hear more. The gigs, theater like we knew several gigs, especially more Pretoria. Pretoria is altijd lekker, so as a belief man.